Coming up on Bloom, the culprit for thyroid problems could be everyday household items.
Having some not obvious symptoms, just from fatigue to feeling puffy to not sleeping well, that could be thyroid related. Have your labs checked, your doctor tell you everything is fine, and in fact, it's still your thyroid.
And a drink designed to protect your skin from the sun. Plus, meet a little girl getting statewide recognition for keeping other kids safe. We'll have all that and more as Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, starts now. I'm Gayle Guyardo. Welcome to Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. Today we're exploring what's disrupting your health and overall well-being. Millions of Americans are suffering with thyroid conditions and don't even know it. The culprit could be everyday household items, even makeup and skincare products that are causing dangerous chemicals to seep into your bloodstream and wreak havoc on your hormonal balance. Joining me now with how to balance thyroid hormones is triple board certified physician, Dr. Lisa Coach. It's so great to see you, Dr. Coach.
So great to be back.
So talk to me about a condition that millions of Americans, especially women, face, and that's thyroid dysfunction.
Absolutely. So the first thing to understand is you may be having some not obvious symptoms, just from fatigue to feeling puffy, to not sleeping well, that could be thyroid related. Have your labs checked, your doctor tell you everything is fine, and in fact, it's still your thyroid. So that's one of the biggest issues we see. Most doctors are not ordering enough blood work to take a look at what's really happening.
So if you feel like this is a problem, do you tell your doctor, like, this is what I want you to check for? What do you say?
Absolutely. So there is a panel, a more detailed panel of blood work that you can get for the thyroid that includes about 7 tests instead of the usual 1 or 2. Most doctors will check a TSH, maybe a free T4. There's actually a lot more expanded that can be looked at. And then we can find the subclinical where we know there's an issue that's happening.
Okay, so once you discover that you actually have the problem, which a lot of people are getting blood, you just heard Dr. Coach say this, you get the blood panel back, you're fine. You're not fine. Ask for the extensive testing. After you do that, how do you restore the thyroid back to its normal function?
So there's a lot of different ways. Excitingly, it doesn't always have to be drugs. Sometimes we do need medication, and there's a whole variety of medications to choose from. Some patients may be much more respondent to one than to another, but I like to try first with diet and supplements. And there are many times where we can get things under control using some things like selenium or zinc or iodine, and there are blends that we use in the supplement realm that will help boost thyroid function.
Okay, and even if you're on medication, does it pay to boost your thyroid function as well with these types of vitamins?
Yeah, so it's a great question, because very often what's happening is you may be taking thyroid, especially things like Synthroid or levothyroxine, which most patients are on. You may be taking that, but it's not converting into T3, which is the more active form. So there are supplements, again, zinc, iodine, selenium being some of the top few, that help that drug work better.
Now, I know some people are paying out of pocket for compounded versions of medications. Is that something to explore if you just can't find the right balance through one of the normal scripts?
Yes, very often we have to add T3 to the mix. So whether that's with the desiccated thyroid, which are things like Armour thyroid, or whether it's a compounded form that has T3 and T4, or whether you ask your doctor to add T3 to your T4 blend or T4 prescription, all of those are options.
Okay, now you say that there is a spiritual side of the thyroid. What do you mean by that?
Well, as you know, I'm always looking for other causes for illness, and we see thyroid function in such a higher propensity in women. And if you think about where the thyroid gland is located, it's right at your voice. So very often, I'll check in if my female patient is not using her voice, whether it's in a relationship or at work, more prone to things having to do with that energy system. There's a throat chakra where energy flows are coming in. The gland is right there. If we're not using our voice, if we're not having sovereignty over our own journey, we're not taking care of ourselves, and we tend to overgive more, higher propensity for thyroid issues.
I would agree with that. There's a very popular book, several actually out there, The Body Keeps the Score. A lot of people only look to medicine to make them feel better, but in many cases, it's what's going on up here, what you're experiencing on a stress level that's going to put added weight onto whatever you're dealing with when it comes to your health.
Absolutely, and I see it the other way around too. I'll have people who are only working on the spiritual side. They need some supplements or to change their diet or work on their adrenals, which are playing hand in hand with the thyroid.
All right, so you talked a little bit about some of the treatment options. So that's just something that you need to discuss. Maybe if the problem's not too severe or it hasn't gone out of control, you try the more holistic approach.
Absolutely, and I like people to understand it's not in isolation. So when you look at the thyroid, the function of your mitochondria, how toxic your body is, if your gut is working, are you even absorbing the medications you're taking? Those all have to be considered as well.
And this might not be a one-stop shop at your doctor. It might take a while to find that balance. What are some of the, you mentioned lack of sleep, puffiness, hair loss. I mean, if you're feeling some of these symptoms, this is when you might need to say, hey, check my thyroid.
Absolutely, and soreness, like a hoarseness in your throat, sore muscles, just general fatigue after exercising. There's a lot of different subtle symptoms that most people have, so it's a good idea to have a good full thyroid panel checked at least yearly.
And how long does it typically take you to get a patient balanced?
Pretty quick. I mean, honestly, it depends what they have going on. So if it's a pure thyroid without a lot of other things going on, we can usually get it balanced in 4 to 6 weeks. If it is the more typical patient just walking into a more integrative approach, who has toxin exposure, not maybe eating very well, a lot of gut issues, then it can take a little bit longer.
Okay, so something to keep in mind, but the most important thing is that you get this checked and you get the correct blood work, because until you have that, you don't know what's going on.
Absolutely. And even remember, even if the labs are okay, sometimes it can be a subclinical presentation where you still could benefit from some support.
Yeah, it's definitely worth digging. You're going to feel so much better if you do. We're going to share Dr. Coach's story on BloomTampaBay.com. And when we come back, the popular Dr. Daniel Pompa is sharing more about how to detox at the cellular level. Bloom will be right back. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. Today we're helping you experience life to its fullest, but a lot of people don't even have the energy to get out and enjoy the world around them, and the culprit could be heavy metals and a buildup of toxins in your body. Joining me now with how to detox at a cellular level is the author of The Cellular Healing Diet, Dr. Daniel Pompa. It is so great to see you, Dr. Pompa.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, you know, you hear of a detox and you think of maybe you're going to drink juices for 5 days, but this is way deeper than that.
Yeah. Look, I spent my adult career telling people detox is not as simple as that.
Right.
It's a cellular issue. You have to get to the cell to get well. That's actually my saying. But real detox is also at the cell. If you look at the amount of chemicals that we've been hit with, even in the last 20 years, it's escalated. But what it's doing is it's pushing down those God-given natural detox pathways at the cell. And when those get compromised, now we start just accumulating toxins, and then we get the diagnosis, or we just don't feel well.
Okay, so what causes our cells to get off to where they need to be detoxed?
Okay, if we look at what we're under, this is kind of trending right now, right? If you look at plastics, last week a study came out, or the scientists that did the study, they looked at 1 liter, the amount of plastics in 1 liter of bottled water, and it was 240,000 particles of plastic, microplastics as they're known. Those are hormone disruptors, right? It's like they make us fat. They're obesogens. They're diabetogens, meaning they drive all these conditions. But this is like, this is what we're up against. Forever chemicals, that's trending. PFAs, PFOAs, these
Where
are chemicals.
Where are those found?
Okay, those are found in like everything. I did some social media pieces because I was devastated that I found them in my dental floss, right? Contact lens fluids right now, or contacts, period. I had to switch my contacts out. Toilet paper, I mean, I could go on and on. They're in like just about everything that we're around. But here's the problem. There's millions of dollars being awarded to the damages and yet we're still being inundated with these chemicals. But again, they're hormone disruptors. They too are obesogens, meaning they make us fat. They disrupt our hormones. And here we are trying to get better by taking more hormones, doing this, doing that. But so the point you asked was, that's what's crushing our detox pathways. I mean, I could go on. They're putting aluminum in jet fuel as part of making it more efficient. That's falling down on us. Plus what we've been exposed to just from our parents. I mean, this is what we're up against.
So how do we get a cellular detox started?
Okay, well, that's a great question, because to upregulate the cellular pathways. Okay, I've been teaching this for 20 years, so it's not as simple as like on the show.
Right.
Quickly.
I know. You got 5 minutes. How do I detox, Dr. Papa?
If it were only so simple, right?
Right.
But, there is I came up with something called my 5 R's. That's a roadmap to how you do it, just quickly, right? The membranes of our cells are very important. So that's the R2. R1 is removing the sources, right? Don't drink out of plastics.
Right.
I mean, but it's hard. It's unavoidable to some degree. But R2 is regenerating the cell membranes. What comes into the cell and what comes out is really the membranes that do that. Matter of fact, there's a saying, it's not mine, but life and death begins on the cell membranes. So that's how important the membranes are. Matter of fact, that's where our hormone receptors are. So when your hormones are normal in blood, they still have to connect to a receptor and get into the cell, or their message into the cell, and we feel well. We burn fat normal, all is well. But what if they don't? Meaning something's blocking it. Toxins block those receptors. And then you can have normal blood levels, or even make your blood levels normal with hormones by taking them. But if they don't get into the cell because that membrane is inflamed from toxins, we don't feel well. Right, so the membrane, raising cellular energy, restoring cellular energy is R3. R4 is reducing the inflammation of the cell. R5 is reestablishing something called methylation that helps us detox even bad hormones. But that's the 5 R's. That's what we need to do to upregulate the cell function.
Now, I know this is done primarily, to go through your life with a fine-tooth comb and try to eliminate what you can. A lot of it is just thrown at us.
Yes.
But is this done with food? Is this done with, nutraceuticals?
Food is a big part of it, right? I think the focus on food is a little incorrect in this country, meaning I agree we eat too many processed foods, refined carbohydrates. We should change that, no doubt about it. But it's the toxins in food that we really should be paying attention. So part of it is, in fact, food, right? And part of it's a lot of the products that we're using, right? But the fact is food is carrying a lot of these toxins with it. One is called glyphosate. You've had many guests on talking about this. Glyphosate is a chemical that they're spraying on our food. Okay, it's even in rainfall now, right? But what it does is it opens up our gut barrier and our blood-brain barrier. Why is that significant? 2012, senior scientist at MIT, Stephanie Seneff, she was one of the first to show that it opens up the blood-brain barrier and allows these toxins that I'm talking about and others to cross deeper into the brain. And that's now become a problem. Food is a problem. And there's other chemicals being sprayed on our food, right? So, but yet, if you look at a country like Italy, who in 2023 won healthiest country in the world, okay, by some of the research. But the fact is they eat 20% more carbs than us. Why don't we see the level of obesity there? Diabetes, thyroid conditions, we don't. Because it's the toxins. Glyphosate, that one chemical, is outlawed there. They don't use it, and they don't use a lot of other chemicals. I do a lot of social media holding up products that are banned in Europe, in Italy, France, because of the chemicals. It's the chemicals of why we're not seeing obesity at the rates we are here. So the chemicals in the food is the bigger problem even than what food you're eating oftentimes.
Yeah, we did an entire 1-hour show of what's banned around the world.
But not here.
That's legal here. Yeah, it's unbelievable. And if you think I buy my Irish butter, now I find out it has plastics in it. I think I'm buying a soda that's good for my gut, and I'd have to drink 3 or 4 of them to get. You never really know what you're getting in this country because everything is greenwashed, and through marketing you get whatever you want. We've got a minute left. Anything else that you want to talk about when it comes to cleansing at the cellular level and detoxing?
Yeah, look, I think we do have to pay attention to what comes in, right? And that's like, reading. I have some simple things. You mentioned food. If you can't read it, don't eat it. I mean, honestly, it sounds oversimplified, but there's a lot of truth to that. And here's the good news. I think the good news is this, because I hate leaving people on a downer note, right? The good news is there's so many alternatives today. Yeah, the chemicals have escalated in the last 10 years even, but in the last 10 years, we have a lot more choices, right? So you can actually find healthy makeup now, right? You can find healthy toilet paper. By the way, toilet paper has forever chemicals in it. You need to get a healthy toilet paper.
Is it scratchy?
Maybe, but even the bleaching, get a non-bleached one because that turns into a chemical called dioxins. It's cancer-causing. It's the tissues of where we're putting it that actually we need to worry about, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so there's a lot of alternatives, and we need to pick those alternatives, right?
Okay.
So there is a little education, but for you and your family, it's like you have to start doing that. Choose a little better product.
And simplify. All right,
Yeah.
Dr. Pompa, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Got to follow this guy on social media. You'll learn all this stuff and then some. And we're going to share Dr. Pompa's story on BloomTampaBay.com. And when we come back, triple board certified physician Dr. Lisa Coach is joining Dr. Pompa and me to answer your viewer questions. We'll be right back. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. We're back answering top viewer questions about what's disrupting your health. And joining me now is Dr. Daniel Pompa and triple board certified physician Dr. Lisa Coach. Thank you guys so much for sticking around for this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A lot of folks want to know, Dr. Pompa, we'll start with you. Why do I have all of these thyroid problems and my blood work is normal?
We were just discussing this.
Yeah.
I said we're having our own show. Look, right now, it's the amount of toxins that really have escalated in the last 20 years, even the last 10 years. I said I called the thyroid the canary in the coal mine, and I said maybe we're the only ones that know what that means, but what it meant was, in the old days, they would bring canaries in the coal mine to make sure that there wasn't a toxic gas. If they died, they knew they had a little bit of time to get out. So the thyroid is the first to go. It's the first to actually start getting affected by these toxins, these neurotoxins that so many are being affected by. So oftentimes the first symptoms are hair loss, right? Just general inflammation. I don't feel well, no energy, can't lose weight, I'm gaining weight, right? Constipation. And so people go to their doctor going, I might have a thyroid condition. Blood work's normal. They go away for 10 years, only to come back, oh, finally it's off, here's the medication, and now they're still going, hey, my blood work's normal because the medication made me normal, but I don't feel well. That's what we're dealing under. She's inundated with this.
Yeah, it's such a huge problem. So, Dr. Coach, how do people know when to get treatment, how to get treatment? Because I know, to what Dr. Pompa was saying, if you're just masking it with a medication, many times there's a lot more that needs to be done with your patients.
There is always a lot more that needs to be done. So everything from detoxification, opening the detox pathways, getting the gut healthy. So we've got to try to find the cause. But a lot of times we can't even get to that place until we get patients out of sort of this emergency response their bodies are in. So if they don't have any cellular energy, giving them all the thyroid in the world and they're not going to feel better. Their labs may look better, but we're not fixing the problem. So we need to go through some steps to get them prepared even to do well with the thyroid medicine.
Yeah, so you got to do some deeper digging than you might be doing right now. Dr. Pompa, another question that we have from our viewer is, why can't I get rid of my brain fog?
Brain fog right now is like the new problem. What does it even mean? Meaning like you almost get like decision fatigue. I can't make decisions anymore. You read things, you can't remember what you read, and you get lost in conversation. You feel like you can't listen. But look, the thyroid plays into this as we're discussing it. But so does just general inflammation, where the brain literally seems like it's not working. But you mentioned something, this cellular danger response. Brain fog has gone like this, same with thyroid conditions since COVID.
Dr. Coach, the next one is for you. Is it possible to heal from chronic ailments? I mean, this is your jam.
Yes, it is. I have personally healed from many of them. So the answer is absolutely. We both have.
Yeah.
And I know maybe you have as well. So it is getting to the root cause. So I will say, when we talk about the cell danger response that Dr. Pompa just mentioned, what's behind the scenes there is our mitochondria. So we have part of our cells that produce energy. And when the mitochondria are not working well, any illness can happen. So when we say, how do we heal from chronic illness? Get back to that level, to the cell. What's happening? Is it in energy production or is it in battleship mode?
Yep.
How do we help get it out of there? Can we help make you new mitochondria so you have a new energy source? that's kind of the best place to start, along with removing toxins and things that are triggering, like infections, that are triggering that response.
Yeah, and what we're talking about here, guys, is a lot of forward-thinking medicine that these two are sharing with us, because it's not what you typically get. This is why we wanted to answer the questions. The next one is, Dr. Pompa, why can't I get rid of this weight?
Weight loss resistance, right? It's the new thing. Most people watching this would say, look, I changed my diet. Matter of fact, I'm on the diet that took 10 pounds off in the past. It's not working. Exercise isn't working for me anymore, because weight loss resistance is actually a hormone problem today. And now we have to ask, okay, many people are saying, but I'm taking hormones. That's even not working anymore. Now I'll say this, it's a cellular problem. The receptors to the hormones are on our cells. And when our cells are just inflamed because of all the toxins we're talking about, then what happens is they don't hear the hormones. So we're familiar with insulin resistance, meaning you have plenty of insulin, but it's not working, right? So you don't feel well. Well, hormone resistance is being driven by toxins today, and we're not hearing our hormones. So therefore, we don't burn fat. Think about it. Thyroid hormone has to get in the cell for you to burn fat, right? Insulin plays into this, right? There's leptin. All these hormones play into fat loss, or the ability to lose weight and use it for energy, fat that is. When we're resistant to them, we won't lose weight despite our diet or exercise.
Okay, very, very interesting. Dr. Coach, what are the best tools and supplements to support detox? I know you're big into supplementation.
I am, but I would say, before you dive into expensive supplements, just open your cabinet. People are still buying so many toxic things. I mean, it is for sale at Claire's. Like, they have at kids promoting stores, right? These are stores for kids. They're still selling known carcinogens. So if you want to go on ewg.org, it's an app. They have an app or a website. You can actually scan the product for its level of cleanliness and how many toxins are in it. So that's a great place to start, is just clean house. And then things like milk thistle. There are tons of direct support for your liver that you can take, and acetylcysteine. You can do a 3-day juice fast. These things are not great long term, but anything that will give your liver a break and then restore. There are glandular liver supplementations that can help it work better. So there's a handful of different things, but before you dive into that depth of the glutathione and should I have it IV or oral, take a look at your cabinet and your diet.
And we have 30 seconds. Dr. Pompa, do you want to weigh in on that?
Get to the sources. Yeah. Did you see last week, the study out? Scientists looked at 1 liter of water and found 240,000 particles of plastic. Literally, wow. The best part was all the scientists in the study said, I'm never drinking bottled water again. It's a hormone disruptor. Obesogens, meaning makes you fat, and diabetogens causes diabetes. It's the chemicals. So stop drinking bottled water, avoid plastics, go on EWG, scan your products, because a lot of plastic particles are in those as well.
All right, guys, powerhouse here of knowledge. Thank you both for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
All right, we're going to share this conversation on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Sunburn Drink.
Welcome back to Bloom. Protection from the sun is so important, and now there is a new all-natural product that you can drink to help combat sunburn. Joining me now are local entrepreneurs and the founders of Sunburn Drink, Robert Foster and Joshua Paul. It's so great to have you on Bloom.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, this is the coolest thing I've heard of in a long time. Robert, tell me, what is Sunburn Drink?
So Sunburn Drink is the first ever. It's a powder that you mix with water and then you drink. It heals your sunburn from the inside out.
That is so cool. So it's all natural. How exactly does it work, Joshua?
So it's an all-natural product, just like you said, and basically what it does is it fortifies those skin cells with nutrients that are already produced naturally in your body. So it's high-dose vitamins, collagen, lysine, cosamine, a lot of high-dose vitamins, as I mentioned, and it just fortifies those skin cells, gives you a prolonged exposure to the sun without getting the burn.
So can you use this prophylactically?
You can. We don't like to promote that, right, because we want people to still use the suntan lotions and all that, but we have tried it for that and it does work. So.
Okay, so you're saying drink this, hydrate your body, get all the nutrients that it needs inside you, and then when you go out into the sun, that's where you get the protection.
Yeah, because your body is just naturally supplying your skin the nutrients to survive, right? And so when you go out in the sun, it's beat down in your skin, and your skin goes, I need more nutrients, I need more and more. And then by the end of the day, your body's just depleted, right? So it just needs the extra ingredients from Sunburn Drink, and then the cells survive, and it's just kind of as simple as that.
Well, I think this is going to be fascinating for a lot of folks because there was just a big report out that, you know, maybe not all of the ingredients listed on, you know, sun protection that you put on your skin topically, they might not even work. So the idea of maybe combating the harmful rays of the sun internally is very interesting.
It is, and I think people are more keen on what they put in their bodies and what they're absorbing. And so this product, again, all natural, it's full of vitamins. It's really the healthiest drink on the market if you compare it to any other drink on the market today.
And talk to me about the taste profile of it.
Similar to a Tang.
Yeah.
So it's got that Tang flavor. It does have a vitamin taste to it because of the high dose vitamins, but it's got a nice clean citrus taste and really refreshing.
But we've noticed that there are so many different flavors of drinks. We actually have 12 other flavors that we're getting ready to launch, but we're just trying to do that strategically along the way. So.
And in addition to helping out, you know, with sun exposure, it just sounds like getting these vitamins and boosting your body is a good idea anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are taking it for all kinds of different reasons. Once they start taking it, like for example, people with ashy skin, they're saying that the ashiness goes away. People have had blisters, really bad blisters that they've, you know, that they've taken like 2 of these a day. Went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" Right? And they're like, "Well, I'm taking this." So it's just good for, you know, just a drink. You know, we've had dermatologists read the ingredients, and once they read that, they go, "Well, you should just take this just because," right?
Right.
Forget about the sun, just take it.
And I think more and more people, I mean, you talk to folks all the time, like we are ingesting a lot more in all different forms of collagen or whatever to make our skin look better, but to actually have the protection side of this is the added bonus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then afterwards, you know, if you happen to not put on sunscreen or you jump in the water and it washes off, or you're out playing golf and you sweat it off, you know, taking this afterwards after you get back home, it'll really combat that sunburn and, quite frankly, reverse the effects overnight, literally.
Yeah, we're in Mexico right now, and you want to talk about people panicking when they pull up to the reef and they turn around and they say, "By the way, don't put on any sunscreen," right? So this is why people in Mexico are liking this too. So,
I love it. Guys, thank you so much for sharing this with our Bloom viewers.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, for more information on this new innovative product created right here in Tampa, Florida, scan the QR code on your screen or visit sunburndrink.com. You can also purchase Sunburn Drink on Amazon, Walmart.com, and through most social media platforms. And we're excited to have Sunburn Drink participating in our Bloom Health Expo Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. inside the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Advent Health Training Center. And we hope to see you there. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Sunburn Drink.
You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We begin where your checkup ends. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back. A lot of us hold ourselves back in life thanks to the negative chatter in our heads. But the facts are you are good enough and have a lot to offer. So in today's Bloom Book Club, we're deep diving into a popular book called Reclaiming the Fire in Your Belly, a practical guide for women leaders to navigate overwhelm. And joining me now to talk about how to be strategic when it comes to moving forward in life is author and the CEO of the McGuckin Group and Women on Their Way, Audrey McGuckin. It is so great to see you.
It's great to be here, Gayle.
So let's talk about being strategic versus being overextended, because I think as women, that's what we do to ourselves all the time.
Yes, and I overheard you talking just a couple of minutes ago about how overextended you feel. But how I like to talk about it, and I like to tell this really quick story. When I was 16, I left school, went to work in a factory, and I remember my mum, when I would be going out the door, she would say, "Work hard today." And so I think we're conditioned as women leaders to put our heads down and work really hard. And what we've observed is that's one of the problems, is what we need you to do is get out of just working hard and be strategic. What does that mean? It means looking across the environment to say, what would I like to do? What could I do? Who needs to know about what I'm doing? And that's what we call being strategic.
It's very interesting. And you do have 4 tools for building strategic acumen. And the first one is, I love this one, it's the horizontals and verticals. And we've got kind of an example up there. Talk me through what we're seeing.
Yes, and this is a tool that I really developed as I was thinking about my own career. So for our listeners that are thinking about their career, we want you to be strategic about it. I was just talking to somebody about this morning. And so what we say is, the first thing we want you to do is think about what are your non-negotiables? What are your golden threads? What I mean by that is, one of mine at the time was, I have to be based in St. Pete because I want to see my daughters finish in high school. Another golden thread for me was I wanted to work for a company that had an incredible culture. And then a third golden thread was, you know, I was 50 and I had, you know, only so many years of being able to be financially astute. So I said, you know, I want a chance to be able to have financial freedom. So those were my horizontals that had to be true as I was thinking strategically about a job. And then I said, okay, so what are the possibilities? The first vertical was really, I had an offer for a role in Tokyo, but that wasn't possible because I needed to be based here. Mm-hmm. The second one was I could have went and worked for a company like Tech Data, but I couldn't have worked globally. And then the third one was being able to work for a consultancy, Deloitte. But all of those didn't really work for me because I knew my horizontals, they didn't work. And so a dear friend and board member said, Audrey, it's very obvious when I see you being strategic, you have to set up your own company. And so what becomes obvious when you do that work is where you want to play.
Yeah, and it's important to have those golden threads, as you say, be met. Because if they're not, and I think we've all been in positions in our lives where our golden threads are not being met, we're miserable on the inside.
We compromise because we're not clear.
Yeah.
And you know, the conversation I had this morning with a young woman leader, she said, I have to be based in London and I have to have flexibility because I have 3 young children. And so those were her golden threads. And she got off our call saying, now I'm clear on how to be strategic about deciding on my next roles.
Yes, so important. The second tool is a monthly personal reflection. And these are all tools that you'll find in Audrey's book. Why is that important?
Yeah, here's what we know about the world we live in today. We move so fast. We move from one thing to the next thing that we don't give our mind time to be still. And when our mind can be still, that's when we get our best ideas. When our mind is still, that's when we're most creative. A great example is if you're a runner, you probably get your best ideas when you're running. Another small example is if you're in the shower, just give yourself a moment to say, I feel a lot of gratitude about the water that I have that others don't. And then this other way is journaling and giving yourself time to write out, what am I thankful for? What am I grateful for? And what do I need to do for myself?
Yeah, I do love your shower one because there's so many times I'll get in a hot shower and I'm like, gosh, just thank you for this.
Yes.
Just feeling the warmth of this water, being able to wash myself and climb into a warm bed. Those are things that, you know, we take for granted, but we should not. We only have a minute left, but I hope it's enough time to touch on your work prioritization matrix.
Yes. Here's the way I want you to think about it. I want you to think about what is the work that really matters, because we could do tactical things every day, and you'll see in the book the top right-hand corner of the quadrant is how do I move the needle profoundly, and that's the work that's going to really matter. And so I know we only have a minute left, but write out all your tasks and think about which one of those things that I have to do is really going to move the needle.
Yeah, so it's all about the prioritizing.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because there's things that we can do every day, and it's the things that we like to do, or the easy things. Often it's the hard things, or the things that we may be pushing off that are the things that will move the needle.
Audrey, as always, thank you so much for deep diving into your book with us.
Thanks, Gayle.
We're going to share more about Audrey's book, How to Reclaim the Fire in Your Belly, on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by New Teeth Now.
Welcome back to Bloom. The global authority in full mouth restorations and dental implants is located right here in Tampa Bay. Joining me now is New Teeth Now surgeon, Dr. Catherine Vorwald. Dr. Vorwald, welcome to Bloom.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So talk to me about what exactly is New Teeth Now?
So New Teeth Now is actually this comprehensive dental implant and full mouth restoration center. We have the ability in-house to be able to give patients a fixed restoration the very same day as their implant surgery.
So who's this treatment for?
The treatment is really for anyone that has any dental problems like dental infections, broken down teeth, people that have dentures that just aren't fitting well anymore.
So what makes New Teeth Now so different from other places?
Really, I would say that what sets us apart the most is that we routinely provide zygomatic implants, which help to bypass that long healing period of sinus lift bone grafts and really allow the patient to be able to go home with a set of teeth the very same day.
That's incredible. So what does the actual process look like?
The process for these full mouth dental implant restorations is that the patient comes in initially for a consultation with one of our surgeons, and we go over in depth. We take a CAT scan of their jaws and face, and then we go through each individual area where we'd like to place those implants and really evaluate how that will go. Then the patient comes in for a preoperative visit, and on the day of surgery, the surgery is in the morning, and then following that, the patient will recover and have their teeth placed the very same day.
Yeah, this is really exciting to have this right here in Tampa Bay, and I understand the New Teeth Now procedure is really changing lives for people from around the world.
Yeah, it truly is. The zygomatic implants, again, have been kind of by history not easily placed by many surgeons, and so our surgeons actually have the ability to do that routinely. We literally place zygomatic implants in the office every single day.
And we're looking at people right now, and the transformation is really incredible. I know a lot of your patients, when they look in the mirror for the first time, they're actually moved to tears.
Yes, absolutely. If you can imagine having a broken down set of teeth and then having that replaced the very same day, it really is transformational.
And I think a lot of people don't do this because the original way was like there's so much downtime, a lot of pain, but this is breakthrough.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of times people have too much bone loss, and in the past they've been told you just don't have enough bone for implants. But now we have the ability to bypass that long healing period of bone grafts and be able to give patients the same day teeth.
That's incredible. And I think what's also important, and this is important to us here on Bloom, is that you have a team of specialized surgeons. I mean, you can't just get this done anywhere. You have to go to people who really know what they're doing, and they're working with the most advanced technology.
Yes, absolutely. We do have to have, providers that are very qualified. All of our surgeons are board certified oral and maxillofacial surgeons that have gone through extensive training and very routinely, like I said, very routinely place zygomatic implants. And I think that's a really big thing for patients to look into.
Yeah, we have to be our own consumer advocates out there, and that's why we try to bring you the best here on Bloom. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, and you can call now 1-800-615-2048 and schedule your consultation with New Teeth Now today. And we're super excited to have New Teeth Now participating in our Bloom Health Expo Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. inside the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Advent Health Training Center. We hope to see you there. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by New Teeth Now.
Welcome back to Bloom. AAA is celebrating more than 100 years of student safety, thanks to its program that has grown into the largest safety program in the world. Here to tell us more is AAA School Safety Patrol Program Advisor, Coach Scott Tassone, and AAA Safety Patroller of the Year, Sophie Cavello. Welcome to Bloom.
Thank you.
So talk to me, Scott, we'll start with you a little bit about the AAA safety program. I mean, it's unbelievable how long this has been around.
Yeah, it's been around a long time, and we've had it at our school, Oakstead Elementary, ever since I've been there for 15 years, 16 years. And it's a great program. It helps the kids get involved with the school. It helps the older kids with the younger kids, and they give you all the resources you need to do it. So it's a great program.
And Sophie, what made you want to be a school safety patrol person?
Well, I wanted to be a school safety patroller because ever since I was in kindergarten, I saw the safety patrollers and I knew how fun and exciting it would be.
That's so cool. And I know, Scott, you actually nominated this beautiful young girl to, make it all the way to the state level.
Yes. I wanted her to be safe patroller when she was in kindergarten. She was that good. So when she was able to get to 5th grade and become my captain, I did nominate her for the Safe Patroller of the Year of Florida because of everything she does. I mean, she orders the equipment. She helps out with all the safety patrols. We have over 50 safety patrols because we're such a big school. And she does it all. And she ended up winning for the state of Florida. I'm just so proud of her.
That's really, really exciting. Now, is this something that you've always wanted to do? Because it sounds like you're so meticulous. You get everything done. You have this great attention to detail. Is it something, do you have like any great memories from it?
I have a lot of great memories. One of my very favorite memories is like in the beginning of the school year when all the kindergartners are all excited but they don't know where their classroom is. We get to walk them to their classroom and they're like getting all excited for the school year.
That's really great. And this program is not only incredible because it keeps our children safe, but it's also important. It must cultivate a lot of leadership qualities in a young child.
Yes, they have so many qualities that they help out other kids. They learn to talk with adults in the elementary age. It's so hard. A lot of kids can't talk to adults. So it helps them talk to them because they have to report to me. They have to report to other teachers if there's any issues going on. So, and they just become stronger leaders when they become safety patrollers.
And are you going to take what you've learned into your middle school years?
Yes, I definitely will. I feel like I've learned a lot about communication and hard working, which will definitely help me with the big change to middle school.
Yeah, I think this is going to help you a lot through life because to see this maturity at such a young age is pretty remarkable. And you said you saw that in her at a very, very young age.
Yes, kindergarten she came in, and I'm the PE coach at our school, and and the safe patrol advisor, and she was my leader from kindergarten all the way up. And we don't do like some safety patrol programs, they do 3rd, 4th, and 5th if they have smaller size numbers, but we have so many big numbers. I had to wait for her to get to 5th grade, and she just does such a great job. I didn't have to worry about anything being an advisor with her on the job.
That's really good. Well, hey, congratulations to you. I mean, that's really quite the honor. And I know a lot of the parents watching out there today are very grateful to have somebody like you keeping an eye on their children. So thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to share the story on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom. Well, we hope you'll tune in again on the next Bloom presented by Lifeguard Imaging. 3-time Olympic champion Brooke Bennett is joining us as we get ready for your countdown to Paris. And we're taking you inside the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Advent Health Training Center as we gear up for the 2024 Bloom Health Expo. So stay healthy, everyone, and I will see you on the next Bloom.
Content segments during Bloom were paid for by Sunburn Drink and New Teeth Now.
Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.